Most expensive construction mistakes in the world. Hello, lovely YouTube family. Welcome back to Top Wealth. Before we start, I would want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Everybody makes mistakes, but some are more high stakes than others. The next time you goof up, remember it can always be worse. As evidenced by these extremely costly mishaps, making a mistake is not the end of the world, but that does not mean it won't break the bank. From losing an NSA orbiter in space to forgetting a Starbucks cup in an episode of a previously well-acclaimed TV series, there are some mishaps that came with very hefty price tags. French train company orders trains that are way too large for their platforms. The French train operator SNCF has discovered that 2,000 new trains it ordered at the cost of 15 billion euros or 20.5 billion US dollars or 12.1 billion pounds are too wide for many regional platforms. The BBC's Christian Fraser in Paris says that is an embarrassing blunder that has so far cost the rail operator over 50 million euros, $68.4 million, 40.6 million pounds. This issue happened when the operator neglected to factor in measurements of the train platforms that had been built more than 50 years ago. Expanding the 1,300 platforms to accommodate their trains took 2 years. This process was not only expensive, but it was also time-consuming. Our correspondents say that the cost is likely to rise even further. Construction work has already started to reconfigure station platforms. The work will allow new trains room to pass through, but officials say that there are still 1,000 platforms to be adjusted. To say that London's walkie-talkie building has been a seriously rough ride since opening last August is an understatement. Walkie-talkie building can melt cars. The central London skyscraper, officially named 20 Fenchurch Street, had already melted cars with a death ray caused by its reflective glass before it even finished construction. Once open, its sky garden was criticized for falling short of promises to be a truly public space and for feeling like an airport terminal. In addition, the building's overall concave design has been charged with creating a downdraft powerful enough to knock people over. Its successful grant of planning permission also became in itself a public scandal, given that the planner's report warned that it would cause significant visual harm. And now, to cap it all, the UK's Carbuncle Cup Awards have named the tower the ugliest British building completed in the last 12 months. Right now, it seems like the walkie-talkie doesn't have any lower to go. Certainly, the tower's bulbous, top-heavy bulk makes it hang oppressively over the surrounding streets and nearby river. It doesn't in fact resemble a walkie-talkie, it's not boxy and has nothing resembling an antenna. Its silhouette has perhaps been more accurately described as like a sanitary towel, aka a sanitary napkin or maxi pad, swollen at the top to favor high-rent upper floor views. But while the tower may feel intrusive, public opinion of buildings recognized instantly as eyesores does tend to soften over time. Martin Lindsay parked his Jaguar on East Cheap in the city of London on Thursday afternoon. When he returned about 2 hours later, he found parts of his car, including the wing mirror and badge, had melted. Mr. Lindsay said he could not believe the damage. The developers have apologized and paid for repairs. The 37-story skyscraper at 20 Fenchurch Street, which has been nicknamed the walkie-talkie because of its shape, is currently under construction. The metric system versus imperial system. NASA lost its $125 million Mars climate orbiter because spacecraft engineers failed to convert from English to metric measurements when exchanging vital data before the craft was launched, space agency's officials said Thursday. A navigation team at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory used the metric system of millimeters and meters in its calculations, while Lockheed Martin Astronautics in Denver, which designed and built the spacecraft, provided crucial acceleration data in the English system of inches, feet, and pounds. As a result, JPL engineers mistook acceleration readings measured in English units of pounds, seconds, for a metric measurement of force called Newton seconds. In a sense, the spacecraft was lost in translation. That is so dumb, said John Logsdon, director of George Washington University's Space Policy Institute. There seems to have emerged over the past couple of years a systematic problem in the space community of insufficient attention to detail. The loss of the Mars probe was the latest in a series of major spaceflight failures this year that destroyed billions of dollars worth of research, military, and communication satellites, or left them spinning in useless orbits. Earlier this month, an independent national security review concluded that many of those failures stemmed from an overemphasis on cost-cutting, mismanagement, and poor quality control at Lockheed Martin, which manufactured several of the malfunctioning rockets. But NASA officials and Lockheed executives said it was too soon to apportion blame for the most recent mishap. Accident review panels convened by JPL and NASA are still investigating why no one detected the error. It was launched that way, said Noel Henners, Vice President for Flight Systems at Lockheed Martin Space System Group. We were transmitting English units and they were expecting metric units. The normal thing is to use metric and to specify that. None of JPL's rigorous quality control procedures caught the error in the 9 months it took the spacecraft to make its 460 million mile flight to Mars. Over the course of the journey, the miscalculations were enough to throw the spacecraft so far off track that it flew too deeply into the Martian atmosphere and was destroyed when it entered into its initial orbit around Mars last week. John Pike, Space Policy Director at the Federation of American Scientists, said that it was embarrassing to lose the spacecraft to such a simple math error. It is very difficult for me to imagine how such a fundamental, basic discrepancy could have remained in the system for so long, he said. I can't think of another example of this kind of large loss due to English versus metric confusion, Pike said. It is going to be the cautionary tale until the end of time. At the Jet Propulsion Lab, which owes its international reputation to the unerring accuracy it has displayed in guiding spacecraft across the shoals of space, officials did not flinch from acknowledging their role in the mistake. We know this error is the cause, said Thomas R. Gavin, Deputy Director of JPL's Space and Earth Science Directorate, which is responsible for the JPL Mars program, and our failure to detect it in the mission caused the unfortunate loss of Mars Climate Orbiter. When it was introduced and how it was introduced, we don't know yet, Gavin said. NASA officials in Washington were reluctant to blame either Lockheed Martin or JPL solely for the problem, saying that the error arose from broader quality control failure. The Spanish government almost built a submarine that couldn't resurface. The Spanish military's new submarine has been plagued by engineering problems and cost overruns during development, and the government will end up spending millions more than it had planned for the project. Years ago, the S-80 submarine suffered a major engineering setback. It was overweight and at risk of not being able to resurface after submerging. And the latest hitch, first reported on Wednesday by the newspaper El País, it can't fit into the port of Cartagena at the military base in southeastern Spain, where the submarine will be stationed. Margarita Robles, the country's defense minister, acknowledged on Wednesday that there had been deficiencies in the project, but she insisted it remained absolutely viable. Navantia, the state-controlled shipbuilder contracted by the government to build the submarine, could not immediately be reached for comment. The newest problem will force Spain's government to soon announce a budget increase for the project. Each of the 4 new submarines will end up costing almost $1.2 million, nearly double the initial budget according to El País. After the buoyancy problems were discovered in 2013, the submarine was redesigned and lengthened by about 33 feet, but the changes did not properly take into account the size of the docks at Cartagena. Now the port will need to be dredged and reshaped. An overhaul that alone will cost about $18.6 million, according to the newspaper. The submarine project has other issues, and engineers have still not settled on the design of its propulsion system, according to El País. The controversy over the submarine comes as Spain's government is struggling to balance domestic pressures with international military commitments. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from us.